Fisher friends. Hey, this is a rainy day project I've been meaning to get around to for some time. I've picked up a few materials. I'll cut to that bit of the video here just in a little bit. But one of the things I've noticed is, fishing nets cost an outrageous amount. They're like, upwards of $200 here in New Zealand. A good one sets you back at least $100. So I thought, okay, and what I've really noticed since I've taken up Eurofishing is that when you've got a 10 or 11 foot rod, trying to hold the rod up and net the fish while not over bending the tip of your rod can be a little difficult, especially for those of us with short arms. So I'm going to build a lengthened catch net and doing it from scratch, with the exception of the net, of course. Picked up a McLean's replacement net, so I'll get into that. Okay, here we go. We've got flat bar. So 25 by 3 looks a little big, so I think I'm going to go 20 by 3. So that's about 17 bucks. Okay, the next piece of the puzzle. I need wood for a handle. Kind of like this, just nice outdoor fencing planks. Makes for pretty hard wood generally. Oh, that one looks pretty good, doesn't it? At 10 bucks each, that's going to be a pretty good make for a pretty good handle, I reckon. Yep. One thing I did neglect to mention is my apologies for the state of the workshop. As you can see, I've got a big project going, which I'll share hopefully a little later on. It's going to be a while down the track, at least like half a year or a year down the track. But that will be coming to my channel at some point. But today we'll get focused on this fishing net and see how we go. Okay, I'll start out by talking about what I've got here. So I've got one McLean's replacement net. So I believe this is either the medium or the large size. What are great about these McLean's nets is, number one, they're rubberized mesh and that does not actually have knots, which is nice because then there aren't knots that actually scrape the scales off the fish when you catch them. Number two is it's nice and deep. So we have the luxury of having pretty big fish here in New Zealand, and having a deep net makes a big difference. Now at Bunnings, our local hardware store, I picked up a bit of aluminum strap. This is 20 millimeter by 3 millimeter. And I also picked up one hardwood fence paling. So this is nice, really hard wood. Meant to be outdoorsy type wood. I use these for all kinds of little projects around the shop, and it's actually pretty nice local hardwood. So first thing I'm going to do is mark out what I want the handle to look like. Oh, almost forgot. And since I'm into 3D printing, I printed some handle grips that have some texture to them that I'll put onto the net. So I've actually got a grip. So first thing, I'm going to mark out what I intend the net to look like, the handle bit of it. I'll make the loop out of this, but I'll do that in a little bit. So let's go ahead and get started on. So I originally bought this net to fit this giant hoop, and this hoop is 42 wide by 43 long, which is huge, absolutely massive. Actually, it's a little hard to get that cut through the water. And so if I take this net and I measure from, you can see it's even longer than 60. I'll mark myself 60s there. And it's another, 15. So it's 75 times 2, which makes this 1.5 meters around. This could literally go around 1.5 meters, which is massive. Now, my preference is to make the net a little bit shaped like, kind of like that, kind of like a triangular. And actually, I think that's what we'll do. Maybe is that look, I'm going to leave a little spare bit out the end because the ends I'm going to have to match. I've got roughly 2 meters of length here. So, and well, let's go ahead and start here. So, yeah, so far that shape, that's about the shape I'm going for. Now, about the same here. Now, I've done a lot of custom work over the years, and so I've gotten to be a very good judge of things. If you haven't done a lot of custom work, I highly recommend, instead of eyeballing it like I am, is that you should actually measure things out. Measure, you know, the angles, or make a cardboard template and match it to that cardboard template. I do that a lot if it's a really complex, or if it's, this doesn't need to be perfect. It's not like it's fitting inside of something. So if it's off by a little bit, it really doesn't matter. But if you're trying to match something to an exact template, say if I was trying to match that shape exactly, carve that out and, you know, trace it out in cardboard, and then bend things to fit. So there's many ways to do this, but those are some of the tricks I've learned over the years. But I've done a lot of work, so I can cut corners a bit. Shouldn't I? So here's my standard gold McLean's, and here's my new one. So you'll notice the net hole is a little bigger, just a little bigger, but certainly the handle is much longer. So hopefully I'll be giving that a test run soon. All right, let me explain a little bit about my homemade net here and what I've been doing. So what I discovered when I took it out fishing is that the handle was just too long, and being made out of this heavy, dense wood, it just weighs too much. So that weighs probably 500-600 grams all on its own, so a pound or a little bit more for those of you in the US. So what I've done is I've fabricated a handle out of aluminum, or aluminium as part of the world describes it. So just got a little bit of heat shrink wrap now I'm going to put on it to kind of finish it off and give it that finishing touch. So this is one of the most important things when you're actually creating stuff, is being open that you got it wrong the first time and adjusting, making that compensation. And in just a little bit I'm going to weigh this up, and I'm going to bet it's going to weigh about the same as my McLean's very fancy net. So this cost me a heck of a lot, literally like $150 at the fishing stores here in New Zealand. This $30, $35 McLean's replacement net, and some parts from Bunnings, and I happen to have this square tubing from another project I'm working on. You'll notice it's very, very stout tubing, so that's really strong but super light. And instead of using screws, I just pop riveted that so that it's ultra light, super stiff. I think it's going to work pretty well. So hopefully be out catching some fish with it soon and giving you a full report.